FrightFest.
Yeah.
Give me a quick, non-spoilerly description of the film, of the plot.
A non-spoilery description of the plot.
It's so hard.
Well, no, it's basically a group of people who come together in the house as a reunion, thinking that they're all kind of friends by now, and a number of events happen that really put them against each other, and it becomes a question of how much can you trust your friendship really, and it just goes downhill from there. I think that's basically the plot. It goes downhill.
It's very downhill. It is exactly. It's horror film. Yeah.
And first time director.
First time feature
director. First time feature producer.
Indeed.
And so quite a match made in heaven. How did you meet?
Well, we met through a mutual acquaintance, Michael Bray, who's a filmmaker in his own right. I met him through uni. I did a course at Central St. Martin's where he was a program leader. And previously he has worked a lot with Joy on short films. And basically when I said, okay, Michael, I'm doing my first feature film, can you get me in touch with somebody who might be interested in coming on board as a producer? He basically hooked us up.
Yeah, he did. He hooked us up. And also, it was not that youth isn't absolutely wonderful, and I love young filmmakers, obviously. I was conscious that Mikhail wasn't like it was someone who had literally just left college and they were 18 and there was an experience and there was a kind of maturity about Mikhail, shall we say, that was appealing. And also what appealed to me was that I felt that Mikhail had incredible kind of chutzpah because he just graduated from college and wanted by the end of that year to have made his first feature film. And I thought, okay, let's do it. And we did,
Yeah, because you kind of lead me on to where I was going to go next, because a mature student, why go into go on a film course because normally that's the type of thing you do when you're 18, 19. Why kind of a little bit later?
Well, I did actually when I was that age. I went. I'm Belgian, so I went to Brussels film school in Brussels. But I also have a background actually in dance. I was a dancer at a young age, so I just felt that on one hand I was too immature to really tell stories, I thought, and I really wanted to continue my building up my dance career and my choreography career first. So basically I took a roundabout route back into film through dance, basically.
You wrote the script?
Together with my brother David,
And you took it to you?
Yes, exactly. And so then the script came and we worked on it a little bit because obviously Mikhail's English is better than mine. I come from the northeast of England and his English is far superior to mine, but it's also got a tendency to be a little bit American English. And so we kind of hammered that out. And also one of the other things that really interested me about this project is that Mikhail wanted to rehearse the actors. So it was very much about, we rehearsed for 3 weeks before we went up to Scotland. So there was quite a lot of, the characters really found their voice. So that was another way of working that I just thought was really interesting. I've not heard of that kind of methodology around a genre film.
So why did you choose the southwest Scotland? Because it could have been, it's all set in a house, it could have been anywhere.
Well, our lovely DP, the lovely Edmund Curtis, his family had this family holiday let in a place called Kitford in Scotland, and he'd always wanted to shoot something there. And it's a weird house. It's you really do. You walk in and you feel like 1972 is still going on when you walk into that house. So he kind of brought the location to you, and the whole thing was built around the location really, which was fantastic. So we went up there and shot it, and we did 1 day of our exteriors, where we had nods to other horror films, didn't we, along the way a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, in our opening credits.
Yeah, there's a bit. For the real fans might recognise something from The Wicker Man if you really know it. So we tried to kind of bring it. I hadn't realised that had been shot round there. So.
And for your cast, the how did you select them? Because they're quite a diverse bunch, really.
Yeah, which was important as well in itself. But basically, I thought I basically just came out of a directing school, let's say, and I thought I'll just make a feature film with people around me. But then when I met Joy, we were able to.
Well, it would have been.
We were able to open it up and actually have auditions.
Exactly.
So we did organize auditions and have people come over, and it was important to find. Really, I considered an ensemble film, so it was important finding people who could work together. So we workshopped them in a group in a second phase.
Yeah.
And
that was also important for, sorry to interrupt, the living conditions, because obviously we were all living fairly closely together, because not all of us in the one house, but we lived and shot in the location. And then we had another house where I kind of said to Mikhail, that was one of my first prerequisites, was we have to have another location just to feed people. You know, you can't cook and be filming in the same place. So we had these two houses, but it was intense, wasn't it? And we all kind of, and there were lots of people having to share rooms and things like that. So it was really important that the people we did gather together were really clear about, you know, we intended to feed them well, because like an army, I think a film crew marches on its stomach. So that was important, to look after people. But there were no frills, you know, there were no kind of Winnebagos or own rooms, really. You know, we all kind of, I mean, Mikhail had to share a room. You shared a room with our lovely sound boy. Yes, exactly. Oh, wow. He was a sound, not a sound boy.
You made that sound very naughty in the wrong way.
I'm sorry about that. So yeah, we had to muck in. So yeah.
So I'm sure it was a learning curve. What was the biggest thing you learned doing this film?
Oddly, I felt really well prepared because I did make a number of short films. I have worked a lot in dance and dance theatre, so I'm used to working with performance. I've done some cinematography myself, so I felt I knew how to deal with the whole thing of making a feature film. So it didn't feel like a steep learning curve, actually. I've made a lot of mistakes in my shorts, I guess, preparing.
You'd made them before you got there.
Yeah. So, and I was, Joy is such an enormous support throughout, and I knew I could rely on the people around me, like Joy and Edmund, and especially George, the editor, as well.
Yeah, we had a great crew, great cast.
I also involved the composer very early on in script stage. We were already working on music together. So, on the set itself, I felt well prepared, and I don't think we made.
Meanwhile, the producer is because it's always the things that you don't think are going to. You know, when we went for our final recce 3 weeks before, I happened to notice that in this very quiet area, suddenly there's a portaloo and there's some wood, and I'm like, oh, that looks like they're building a house there. And indeed, by the time we came back, they were building a house right next to where we... So we got to know our builders very well, and I spent endless hours talking to builders and giving them digestive biscuits and saying, they had radios, we had radios. Could you stop hammering for 10 minutes? You know, and they did, and they were just glorious, you know, so it was amazing. So what's next for you, Joy? What's next for me? Oh, goodness me. Well, hopefully I've got a couple of things that I'm trying to develop. Not possibly this genre. Well, I'm hoping I'll do Mikhail's next film, which would be great, which is a slightly different genre, isn't it? Slightly. It's a survival horror or survival thriller. I'm working on in a science fiction setting. So that's quite interesting. And I've got something that is a bit of a gritty BAFTA sort of drama, which is set up in the north, and it's someone who wants to do a similar sort of thing to this, so there's a bit of me going, oh God, do I really want to go and live in a house with a load of actors for another 3 weeks to do a really low, but you know, it's great, and we're doing good work, so we got it done. It's brilliant.